Come on, hurry up, boys. Here, put that back, put that back. Hello, Gov. You're early today.
Have a nice trip, Frank. So, what is this? Winnie the Pooh? Virgins in chains. Doesn't look as though it has a happy ending, Frankie.
Maggie. Driscoll's just had his 4th wash in 2 weeks, and I bet he's still not clean. I'll need a smoke screen while I do my thing.
Well, what do you think of it?
Very nice.
Nice one, isn't it? Little beauty. Yeah, don't be shy. Jump in. The door should be open. Go. Get a feel of it. So we've been doing a lot a couple of days. Hello, sweetheart.
Morning.
Be with you in a minute, love. Right. What can I do with you?
Well,
Take it away.
Well, I'm looking for a car, but there's so many out there, so I'm going to start.
You leave that to your uncle for now. Could you hang on a moment, please? Just a moment. What sort of price range are we looking at?
Well, something cheap and cheerful, I'm afraid. My old man's been made redundant, you see.
Oh, the old golden handshake. Yeah. Well, invest in a car, so what? You made that decision, I bet.
No, I don't know, just about £1,000, I should think. You have to be on the HP as well.
Yeah, I thought we were talking sensible, man. No, I'm only joking. No, we've got plenty of cars out there about
Excuse
that
me. The Aston Martin out there, I suppose the engine's tied together with bits of string.
And actually, the Aston is in excellent condition. It's an A1 condition. In fact, I can pop the hood for you, madam.
Oh, super.
Hold the fort for me, sweetheart.
Hang on, I was here first.
Oh, it's all right, I won't be very long. I'm meeting my chap at Harrods in an hour.
You girls fight out between yourselves. I'll just pop the bonnet, right?
chap of yours? Why did he take you to Harrods?
To buy me a diamond tiara.
Loaded, is he?
Naturally.
Blimey. That bloke of yours at the car wash, he's a copper.
Well, it could be a coincidence. Perhaps his car just happened to be in front of Driscoll's.
So where did the money come from?
Well, he certainly doesn't grow in car washes.
We'll have to stick even closer to Driscoll now. Trouble is, Maggie, you and I have blown our cover. Better let Fred take over.
Okay. Shop.
Ah, Mrs. Driscoll.
Any luck yet?
We don't depend on luck. We depend on hard work, blinding revelations, and sheer genius.
What have you found out?
We have reason to believe your ex-husband is holding out on you.
I knew it.
There's no way his declared income can support his present lifestyle.
50 quid a week, that's what he gives me. I'll be better off on social security.
Wouldn't we all? Take a seat.
So you reckon I can apply for an increase in maintenance?
Well,
What's that?
Phil's tax returns for the past 5 years.
How do you get hold of them?
I've sold myself to the Inland Revenue. Do you think he's declaring all his profits?
Fairy stories, that's what these are. He was making more than this 10 years ago.
Something else. Our Mrs. Forbes has been keeping him under surveillance for 2 weeks now. He's been receiving parcels in a car wash.
In a what?
We suspected the parcels contained money. Today, our suspicions were confirmed.
Why would people give him money in a car wash?
Services rendered? Word in the trade is he's been ringing motors.
Ah. He's back at that game, is he? He told me he packed it in.
Mrs. Forbes took down all the numbers of the cars that preceded Phil's into the wash. The first 3 belonged to other dealers. The one today was a bit of an eye-opener. It belonged to a policeman.
Ernest Cropper. What the hell is he up to? I don't like it. If Cropper's tied in with this car ringing thing, I'm going to have to go after him.
We've done that before, haven't you? It's just your line, isn't it? Bent coppers?
Yes, sir. I understand. Very good, sir. Moving commission, he said. What's that mean?
I get about a bit.
How come a private investigator works for the Home Office?
It's a long story, Inspector.
You said you wanted to question one of my officers. Who?
Detective Sergeant Cropper.
What are you suggesting?
Oh, I'm not suggesting anything, Inspector. I'm just trying to eliminate him from my inquiries.
Inquiries? Into what?
Well, I'd rather keep that to myself at the moment.
Why don't you put it through the normal complaints procedure?
I have no specific complaint, as yet. Is D.S. Cropper on duty today?
Yes. But he's not in the nick.
I'd like to take a look at his diary. Thank you.
Any particular day?
Yesterday. Mansfield Street, Cathcart Road, Fairfax Street. It was the other side of town.
So?
But he had no official reason for being in a garage in Bracewell Street.
Look, Miss Forbes,
Mrs.
what exactly is he supposed to have done?
Maybe nothing. There's probably a perfectly legitimate explanation.
To what?
Which is why I'm trying to keep it confidential.
Ernie Cropper is a first-class officer.
Well, then he has nothing to worry about.
You want to see me, Cap?
Yes, Annie. This is Mrs. Forbes. She's from the Home Office.
I've seen you around, haven't I? You're not Home Office, you're from ours.
She has Home Office authority.
Mum, what's all this about?
Your shift yesterday afternoon. It was supposed to finish at 3:30, right?
Right.
There's nothing in your diary after 2.
I asked you for the afternoon off, Cuff. In the canteen. My wife's birthday.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten. So, where did you go when you went off duty?
High Street, buy her a present.
Then what?
I went home.
Straight home?
Yeah. No, hang on. Yeah, I took the car for a wash.
May I, Inspector? Do you know a man called Philip Driscoll?
Phil Driscoll, second-hand car salesman?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Bought my motor from his place.
Gave you a good discount, did he?
Well, but what do you mean?
Driscoll was just behind you in the car wash yesterday, yet you didn't even seem to recognise him.
I never even saw him. Anyway, how'd you know?
Because I was there.
I never saw you. What were you doing?
I was following Driscoll. You just happened to come into the frame.
Frame?
Driscoll collected a parcel of money in that car wash. Did you leave it for him?
I don't know what you're getting at, Mrs. Forbes. But detective sergeants aren't in the habit of leaving money lying around in car washes. Do you know how much we get paid?
Yes, Sergeant. As a matter of fact, I do.
Walking stick.
See ya.
So he follows the members of the jury into this pub, right? Picks out this bloke, stops him in the street, and tries to bung him a wedge.
To bring in a not guilty verdict?
Could be, but as soon as they get back into court, he tells the judge stops the case and orders a retrial.
So our chum Driscoll is a man of many parts.
But he made a complete cock-up. I mean, he should have known not to choose that geezer.
Why not?
Because he didn't look the type to take a backhander. He was like an ex-general type, toffee nose, a bit like you, Prue.
Thank you, Fred.
There were a couple there that looked as though they'd sold their own grandmothers for cup final tickets.
Most men would do that.
Maybe it wasn't a cock-up.
Eh?
Or maybe he chose Toffee Nose on purpose, knowing that he'd report the approach to the judge.
But why?
To abort the trial.
Blimey. Major rethinks in the light of a whole new revelation.
What about the case, Fred? Who was the defendant?
A fellow called Burrows got charged with importing pornographic videos.
They should bring back the death penalty for pornographers.
Now, the question is, what was Driscoll's connection with Burrows?
And if Cropper provided the money, what's his connection with Burrows?
We can't prove that he provided the money.
What does your seaweed tell you, Maggie? Is he bent?
I don't know. He sounded plausible.
But
He came into a superior's office without knocking. He sat down without being asked. Now, no ordinary sergeant would have done that.
So what makes him so extraordinary?
Well, there is one possible explanation, but I am going to have to check on it.
Meanwhile, we'll have to tell someone about our jury novel.
Well, we can't go to Maggie's lot because they're obviously in on it.
Oh, come on, Fred. I'm sure if you tried really hard, you could find one copper who hadn't nobbled a jury this week.
Look, they always look after their own, always have, always will.
Rubbish.
Now, stop bickering, chaps. I know exactly who we ought to inform.
Nigel?
I think he ought to be told. There's someone who'll be even more interested.
Who?
The judge. Oh, Dr. Glossop?
Oh, an orchid lover.
Not really, it's the only one I know.
Well, as it happens, you're correct, Miss Standfast.
Now, don't tell me I'm the only woman.
Your uncle rang. I've been expecting you.
Good old Uncle Geoffrey.
Still messing about in boats, is he? Luffing to leeward and all that?
One doesn't luff to leeward, Sir William. One luffs to sail closer to the wind.
Seems to run in the family. Well, what can I do for you?
We have a little problem.
By we, I suppose you mean this detective agency of yours.
Yes.
Which, I gather, is not all it seems. Something to do with the police?
Heaven forbid.
Well?
The man who made the illegal approach to your jury yesterday. We know his identity.
Then your duty is clear. You must go to the authorities.
We haven't yet completed our investigations. And there are ramifications that you wot not of, Sir William. I'm not sure I wot them myself, to be perfectly honest.
Could you put that into English?
I could put it into Latin. Quis custodiet ipsos custodes.
I hope you're not implying what I think you're implying.
I probably am.
Then you're skating on very thin ice, Miss Standfast.
I am aware of the danger. Hence this courtesy call.
Courtesy call?
We don't want to be in contempt of your court, nor do we want to be accessories after the fact. So we have to protect ourselves.
I can't afford you protection. If it turns out you failed in your duty...
We'll do our duty as soon as we have concrete proof, I assure you. Meanwhile, I'd be grateful if you take note of this conversation, in case someone tries to put the boot in.
You'll keep me fully informed.
I give you my word.
Very well. Conversation noted.
Thank you, Sir William. Oh, by the way, in the case of Regina versus Burrows, who exactly is Regina?
Customs and excise.
You're sure you're not imagining all this, Margaret? Because you are gamekeeper turned poacher.
Can you imagine that money? It had to come from somewhere.
So, you're suggesting that Cropper and Burrows are in cahoots, using Driscoll as the middleman.
Right. Not that I can prove it.
What do you want from me?
I want photostats of Cropper's promotion board papers from the time he was a PC right through to a DS.
May I ask why you're so interested in these papers?
Well, you might ask, Nigel.
And why aren't you going to tell me?
Because you might be Cropper's brother.
This bloke Driscoll. Nothing I should know, is there?
Well, we both know he's a card ringer, but there are worse villains on our patch.
Why would Mrs. Forbes be interested?
His ex-missus? She's got a maintenance application coming up. She could be behind it.
Then I suggest you have a word with her.
All right.
Ernie! Nothing I can do, you know, not if the Home Office is involved.
I can handle it. Ho! If Mrs. Forbes is interested in me, maybe it's time I got interested in her. Don't worry, Brian. Ulcers.
This is highly irregular, Mrs. Forbes. I have to tell you that we don't usually discuss our business with outsiders.
Oh, I realise that, Mr. Fairbrother, but Sir William is very concerned about the case.
Sir William has no jurisdiction over customs and excise.
He's trying to prevent a miscarriage of justice. He's asked us to make confidential inquiries.
Why didn't he ask the police?
He has his reasons.
It's still highly irregular. I mean, I don't even know who you are.
He does. Isn't that enough?
Whatever information I give you, you won't reveal your source.
Oh, you have my word.
Please. It's just that I can't afford to take any risks, you see. Burroughs has been running rings round us for too long.
What way?
We've known for a couple of years that he was importing pornographic material from Holland and Belgium.
How did you know that?
Tip-offs from the continent. So we kept him under observation for long periods. But as soon as we withdrew our observers, the stuff started appearing on the market again.
How did you collar him in the end?
We had a whisper from Zeebrugge that there was a consignment aboard a Belgian container ship. Our blokes were waiting at the mouth of the estuary, watched him transfer the stuff to his boat, and I nicked him as soon as he came ashore.
You work with the police?
Usually.
So they knew about the tip-off from...
No. We didn't tell them about this one. There'd been so many false alarms, we decided to go it alone. We were sick of looking like noddies in Dockland.
Doesn't it strike you as odd that the one time you decided to keep the police out of it, you get lucky?
Would you care to spell that out for me?
I'm sure you follow my gist, Mr. Fairbrother.
Well, we'll have Barrows at the retrial, don't you worry. We have a witness, Mrs. Forbes. Don't ask me who. That really would be irregular.
Reception? This is Mr. Gordon's office. We've been trying to raise Mr. Fairbrother, but I think our extension's on the blink. Could you give him a buzz for us and say that Mr. Gordon would like to see him straight away? In Warehouse 3. Thanks.
Morning, Mrs. Driscoll. I'm afraid we haven't any further news for you.
Oh, forget it. I came to settle up.
Settle up?
Well, you tell me Phil's been copping some under-the-counter income. So I reckon my brief can squeeze some more money out of him. So how much do I owe you?
You'll be better off waiting for our final report, Mrs. Driscoll, and then it's all there in black and white.
I can't afford to pay you anymore. I'm skint.
We'll complete the investigation free of charge.
No, I don't want you to. Just give me my bill and we'll call it quits.
Well, we'll waive our fee. We'll make it, just £25 to cover our expenses.
Thanks. Well, goodbye. Well, and thanks ever so much.
She's been got at.
The arm of the law must be longer than we thought.
Tracy! Get up here!
Yeah?
Sandra?
Who?
Sandra Fox.
Sorry, love, wrong flat.
And I'm from Customs and Excise.
Let's see some ID. Private investigator? You said you was from Customs and Excise?
I've just come from them. Mr. Fairbrother.
How do I know that?
You can ring him and check.
You working for him?
Not exactly, but we are on the same side.
What are you investigating then?
The attempt to bribe the juror yesterday.
Yeah, just like Frankie, that.
Frankie?
Frankie Burroughs. My pet gorilla. He should feel at home behind bars.
So you reckon that Burroughs is behind all that?
Who else? Listen. You won't tell him my address, will you? Or my new name?
Humphrey Bogart wouldn't, nor will I.
You from the old Bill?
No.
Good. Fancy a drink?
Yeah, great. I changed my mind. It's a bit early in the day for me.
Good. No offence, but this stuff costs a few bob.
Why did you agree to give evidence against your gorilla, as you call him?
Because he had it coming, the way he treated me.
How was that?
Like a punching bag. I used to spend a fortune on makeup trying to cover up the cuts and bruises. He used to like me to look nice. I don't know how I stood it, really.
You're not still with him?
No. We broke up before he got nicked. But I still wanted to get back at him. So, when I read about it in the paper, I went to see Fairbrother. Told him all I knew.
Why didn't you go to the police? How much did you know?
Enough. Names of his suppliers, his distribution setup.
Do you know a man called Philip Driscoll?
No.
How about Ernest Cropper?
I wasn't going to say nothing about him. Be asking for trouble, that. Anyway, his mates would drive me out of business.
How well did Burroughs know Cropper?
Are you sure you're not from the police?
I promise.
He was on Frankie's payroll. He was the reason Frankie got away with it for so long. He used to warn him when the customs blokes was about.
You know, Sandra, I think you're the reason that juror got nobbled yesterday.
Why?
Cropper didn't know you were going to leave him out of it, did he? He couldn't let you get as far as the witness box.
So she's been living under a pseudonym?
Which is why Cropper and Burroughs couldn't find her. Obviously, they hoped to trace her before the retrial. Make sure she doesn't testify.
We have to make sure she does.
Yes. Well, I'll ring Nigel, get him to fix the safe house. It's upside down.
There's no need, Margaret. The mountain has come to Mohammed.
You got those photostats?
I have. Voila.
So. Ah, I thought so. You recognise that, Nigel?
What?
That symbol?
No.
Good. Then you're not Cropper's brother.
How gratifying.
What is it?
It's a Masonic sign. Cropper's a Freemason.
How do you know?
Oh, my old DCI told me all about it. He was dead against coppers belonging to any sort of secret society, so am I.
And he put it on his promotion board papers in case the examiner was a Mason too.
It might get him preferential treatment.
A school for scandal. But it still doesn't prove anything.
It's the circumstantial evidence I need.
That someone's minding Cropper's back.
If there's one Mason in that nick, there's probably a whole bunch of them. They usually recruit their colleagues.
Rathbone?
Yes, which was maybe suspicious. He treated Rathbone like he was inferior, which must mean that he's his superior in the lodge.
I knew it.
What?
The filth. They're all nobblers.
Oh, thanks for the input, Fred. Very helpful.
The question is, are they both bent? I wonder how far up the line it goes.
I think it's time you went to the chief constable, lady.
With only half a case? Look, I've got a witness that ties Cropper in with Burrows.
Well, and that's why you need a safe house.
But I haven't yet tied him in with Driscoll.
Over to you, Fred.
Good evening, Mr. Driscoll.
Left it a bit late, love. Closed.
I'm not looking for a motor.
Make yourself comfortable. What is it you want, love?
I want a jury nobbled.
Come again?
Well, this is the local nobbling centre, isn't it? I looked you up in the yellow pages. Right, all right.
Hi, Copper!
No, I'm making a citizen's arrest.
You're wasting your time, lady.
Yeah. Get up!
Where do you think you're taking me?
Taking you to the police so you can tell them who put you up to this.
Tell the Bill. It's like telling Hitler his arm has invaded Poland.
Yeah?
I ain't gonna talk to them. No way.
My friend's uncle's got a friend. And you can tell him.
What about the car? We ain't walking, are we?
You realise there's a 40-mile-an-hour limit on this road, miss?
Yes, I'm sorry, officer. I wasn't thinking. I'd arranged to pick someone up and I'm a bit late, sir.
Can I see your licence?
7.
Tyres look a bit worn. Check them, will you, Tony?
Look, if you're going to book me, book me. I told you, I've got an appointment.
You should have started out earlier then, shouldn't you, miss? I mean, it's not fair on the other motorists.
Colin?
Could you come round to the rear of the car, please, miss?
What's this?
Oh, come on, Cropper. That one's got whiskers on it.
Tony, drive this back to the Nick. She's coming with us.
And that one.
I'd like to keep it.
Afraid not. Regulations.
I know all about regulations, Sergeant. You can use your discretion.
I'm using it. One ring. Button. Initial that, will you, love?
Don't call me love, okay?
What about my phone call?
Let's get you booked in first. Full name.
Margaret Ann Forbes.
Address?
75 Radler Street.
Date of birth?
1st of April, 1844.
Don't mess me about, love. 1944?
42.
Occupation?
How about my phone call? Private investigator.
Height?
5'4".
Weight?
8'10".
Colour of hair?
Rapidly greying.
Brown. Colour of eyes?
Red.
Good. Marks, scars?
None. And I want that written down, Sergeant.
Who do you want notified?
Nigel Beaumont, Home Office.
Home Office?
Section 52, Dave.
You sure?
I'm quite sure.
That's ridiculous. Sergeant, the sooner you let me make that phone call, the less likely you are to find yourself back on the beat.
The arresting officer has refused you a phone call at this stage. If he has reason to...
4 hours, that's all! Then it has to go upstairs. Oh, my God.
Right. I'm off. Oh, Wendy. Full body search.
Bastard. Come on, love.
I'm not in a position to do a deal with you, Driscoll. You've committed a serious offence. And if you turn Queen's evidence, the judge would be inclined towards leniency. And I would support any plea in mitigation your counsel might care to make.
I don't know, sir. I mean, if I grass on him, then he's going to make sure that I go down for, a couple of things. And let's face it, he's not going to be in there forever, is he?
Who?
The cop, I mean, once he's out, he's going to...
Well, you could ask for protection.
Who from the bill? Where you been hiding? Ah, you're all the same. You're bent.
No, Driscoll, they're not all the same. If you know of a corrupt officer, it's your duty to name him. I assure you he'll be prosecuted with the full rigour of the law.
Well, name's Mary Poppins. All right. Cropper, his name's Cropper.
Right, let's get you ready down then, love. Shoes, love. Any chance for a cup of tea?
Not after 6. You can have a glass of water if you like.
Forget it.
Maggie! Get out. You can't come barging in here without a warrant.
Who says I haven't got a warrant? I've reason to believe these premises are being used for prostitution.
Oh, please, Ernie. I wasn't going to say nothing about you and Frankie, honest.
Of course you won't, love. Only these briefs have got a way of getting things out of you. Things you never meant to say.
I'll go abroad. Just say the word and I'll take off. Somewhere they'll never find me.
I don't mind them finding you. As long as I know you've lost your voice.
Citizen's arrest. You mean you actually nicked Phil yourselves?
Yes, I'm afraid he's going to jail.
Jail?
He tried to give some of his ill-gotten gains to the wrong people.
Well, what's he going to do with you? I thought I told you to lay off.
We couldn't, Mrs. Driscoll. There might have been a miscarriage of justice.
What's the problem, Mrs. Driscoll? Someone putting the frighteners on you?
Of course not. It's just... How's he going to pay my maintenance if he's in jail? It's all your fault, sticking your noses into other people's business.
You asked us to stick our noses in.
I didn't ask you to deprive me of my livelihood, did I? What am I going to do now?
It's a way of social security.
I should never have come to you. Should have gone to a man. Set a bleeding thief to catch a thief.
See.
What?
That was Nigel. Maggie never made it to the safe house. What's Sandra Fox's address? Sandra? Sandra?
Listen, why don't you get yourself a cup of tea, Wendy? I'll mind the shop.
Oh, I don't know, Sarge, I better...
Don't worry, I've got a fair descriptive form. Go on, take a break.
All right, then. Thanks, Skip.
So, why were you visiting Miss Fry?
She was an important witness at a forthcoming trial. We had reason to believe she was in danger, so we intended keeping her under wraps until she could give evidence.
We? Who's we? So you worked with Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Why did you think Miss Fry was in danger?
I think you know the answer to that.
What's that supposed to mean?
There is corruption at your Nick, Inspector. Either you're a part of it, or you've been turning a blind eye for too long. Which is it?
You've got a bloody nerve.
Are you a Freemason?
None of your damn business.
I wouldn't ask if it wasn't relevant.
To what?
The attack on Miss Fry. Her real name's Sandra Fox, and she's Frankie Burrows' ex-girlfriend. I think Cropper did it.
You're off your head.
You knew he was bent, didn't you? You're members of the same lodge, so you did nothing about it. I'm warning you, Inspector. If anything's happened to Mrs. Forbes, I'm holding you directly responsible.
Excuse me, Gov.
What?
Mrs. Forbes, we're holding at the Nick.
You're joking.
We found some stuff in her car. Drugs.
Who was the arresting officer?
Ernie Cropper.
Miss Snowpass!
You won't get away with it, Cropper.
Oh, yes, I will. It's the shame. You couldn't stand the shame. So you committed suicide.
Sergeant!
There's no one up there. You can shout and scream all you want. It's just you and me.
You're mad.
No. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Forbes, which cell is she in?
6.
How is she, Doctor?
She has cerebral congestion. I'm afraid she may have suffered some brain damage. It depends how long her oxygen supply was cut off.
When will you know, Doctor?
We'll be able to make some sort of prognosis as soon as she comes out of sedation, which should be any minute now.
Can we see her?
Yes, sir. I was about to suggest it.
What did she say?
She said we're not to worry. It still beats hanging around in a police station.